It's not every day that you hear a comeback story 600 years in the making. And you're not going to hear one today either. Sorry. But this isn't a story about a comeback. Not yet. It's a story about potential and undoing the wrongs of the past. My name is Brandon and welcome to another episode at the Wellstead. This is the white stork, or Ciconia Ciconia, which translates from Latin to stork stork. An iconic bird first documented in the hit 2016 Warner Brothers motion picture Storks, starring Jennifer Aniston. That might not actually be true. But what is true about the white stork is that they are one of Europe's largest birds, with wingspans reaching over 2 meters long. They prefer open wetlands and grasslands and can easily be spotted in their large nests. They are a migratory bird, breeding across Europe and Asia and flying south to Africa for the winter. And they play a huge role in the reproductive cycle of humans by delivering babies to new parents. I might need to fact check that. White storks have been around in Europe for over 10,000 years, making them a key species in our environment. However, here in Britain, the stork story is slightly different. White storks were once a native breeding bird here until they disappeared in the 1400s. The decline and eventual extinction of white storks in Britain is often attributed to habitat loss, overhunting, and targeted persecution. Though some experts believe that when King Henry VIII was born in 1491, the white storks wanted nothing to do with Britain anymore. And storks remained absent from Britain as a nesting species for the next 600 years. That's a long time. Until 2016, when Charlie Burrell and Isabella Tree, owners of the famous Knepp Rewilding project in West Sussex, reintroduced the white stork from a breeding colony in Poland. For the first time in 600 years, that's a long time. Storks had returned to Britain as a nesting species and can still be seen at the Knepp estate today. In fact, I was there just last year.
Oh my god. Look at this big fat nest. Oh, he's getting, look. What's he doing? Is he feeding his little chickens?
But since then, stork stalking has stalled. Some experts have noted that this coincides with a decrease in childbirth rates across the UK, with 2025 showing the lowest number of babies being born in 50 years. Coincidence? But despite how few storks remain in the British Isles, their populations have remained relatively stable across Europe, particularly in Western European countries like Spain, where storks are easily able to migrate between the continents of Europe and Africa. In fact, while some parts of Europe have seen a significant decline in stork populations due to habitat loss and the intensification of agriculture, countries like Spain have the opposite problem and claim to have too many storks.
They've got too many here
Really? So I've just learned that here in Spain there are actually too many white storks, and churches like these are home to up to a dozen storks on a single roof. Wow. And a big reason for this overpopulation is climate change, which has meant that the storks don't have to migrate down to Africa anymore because Europe is warming, and so they can stay here and conserve energy. However, just last week I heard some great news from a local birdwatching group and conservation charity that 4 white storks had been spotted flying overhead just 3 miles from here. So today I'm going to see if I can spot any white storks. Nope. But one thing must be mentioned. The area that I live in is one of the most biodiverse areas in all of the UK, where we have several different species reintroduction projects all ongoing, as well as unique wetlands and habitats for rare animals. So of all places for a flock of storks to be spotted, it doesn't surprise me that they were here. But just because 4 storks have been spotted flying in my local area, does that mean that the white stork has officially returned to the British Isles? Well, not really. We have to ask the question, what does it mean for a species to have returned? For a species to have been officially and successfully returned to an ecosystem, it has to meet multiple criteria. For one, is it able to create and sustain its own habitat in that environment? 2, does it fill its own ecological niche in that ecosystem? And 3, is there a healthy population size and signs of reproduction and the ability for the species to thrive in that environment long term? In other words, a species cannot be classified as having returned until it has functionally returned. That is to say that it has not only been spotted physically inhabiting that place, but is carrying out its natural ecological functions within that ecosystem. In other words, what do storks actually do for us? Well, of course, we all know that storks deliver our babies, which by extension benefits the economy by providing the next generation of workforce to our corporate overlords. But aside from that, storks don't really provide many specific ecological functions. Rather, they are what's known as an indicator species. Where an animal such as the stork appears, that would suggest that there are enough resources in the environment to sustain a wider abundance of life. However, while there are a number of stork breeding and reintroduction programs across the UK, we won't see a widespread return of the stork unless the habitat is also there to support the bird. On average, wetland habitats like this have declined by 35% across the globe since the 1970s. But here in Britain, we've lost over 90% of our wetlands in the last 100 years alone. And these wetlands provide habitat for so many more species than just the stork. Home to unique birds of prey like marsh harriers, ospreys, and the famous white-tailed eagle. But unless wetlands like this are protected and restored, iconic species like the white stork will not be able to make a full comeback. So unfortunately for the time being, the white stork has not returned to Britain. Not yet, but perhaps this one stork sighting near here was a sign of better things to come. Perhaps it was a sign that our different rewilding efforts around the country are paying off. And perhaps it's a reminder that if we work together between ourselves and with the natural world, then we can create a better living environment for us all. That's about where I got to with the script for this video, so yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to say thank you for watching this video, and if you want to see more content on nature conservation and rewilding, then subscribe to the Wellstead so you can follow our own journey of rewilding our own ancient woodland. And who knows, perhaps we'll one day create habitat that will attract white storks to nest in our woodland. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.